You're listening to the Experiencing God Day by Day podcast, brought to you by Blackaby Ministries International.
September 19th, evil, good, and good, evil. Isaiah 5, verse 20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who substitute darkness for light and light for darkness, who substitute bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. It is Satan's practice to convince people that what God calls good is actually evil, and what God declares evil is, in fact, good. Satan persuaded Adam and Eve that their disobedience, rather than their obedience, would guarantee a full life. They believed him and immediately began to experience sin's consequences. Despite the absurdity of Satan's logic, he continues to deceive people into doubting what God has clearly said. King Saul sought Samuel's affirmation for the sacrifice he had offered, even though he had acted in direct disobedience to God's command. 1 Samuel 15, verse 13. Ananias and Sapphira expected praise from the early church for their offering, though they were blatantly lying. Acts 5, verses 1 to 11. An Amalekite soldier sought David's gratitude for killing Saul, God's anointed king. 2 Samuel 1, verses 1 to 16. We too will face the temptation to call something good that God has declared wicked. We may be persuaded that we can accomplish more good by lying than by telling the truth. We may claim that we are mobilizing Christians to pray for someone in sin when, in fact, we are spreading gossip. We may assert that we are following God's will in our job when, in fact, we are striving to pursue our own ambitions. We will also be tempted to call evil that which God declares is good. God says it is good to love our enemies, yet we might decide our task is to hold them responsible for their actions. It is so important to hold ourselves accountable to God's word. God does not need us to find exceptions for his commands. He requires our obedience.
This podcast is based on the book Experiencing God Day by Day by Henry and Richard Blackaby, published by B&H Publishing Group, music by Mark Brown.